On the very first day of Labour's annual conference, Keir Starmer chose to light a fuse. In front of cameras and party loyalists, the Prime Minister branded Nigel Farage's flagship immigration policy not just wrong, but racist and immoral. It was a dramatic moment, designed to draw a line in the sand. But here's the question. Has Starmer just strengthened his grip on the party? Or handed Reform UK the very outrage it feeds on? Keir Starmer didn't hold back. In a striking interview, he condemned Reform UK's plan to abolish indefinite leave to remain, warning it would target people who had built their lives in Britain, working, paying taxes, and raising families. He drew a sharp line. Deporting illegal migrants was one thing, but tearing lawful residents from their homes was, in his words, racist and immoral. Starmer insisted these weren't faceless statistics. They are our neighbors. They are part of who we are, he said, warning the policy would rip this country apart. It was a bold escalation, one that put morality at the center of the fight. But if Starmer thought his choice of words would end the debate, he was mistaken. Nigel Farage's Reform UK has staked its ground on a policy that goes further than any mainstream party has dared in decades. The pledge? To scrap indefinite leave to remain, the route that allows people who have legally lived and worked in Britain for 5 years to settle permanently. Under Reform's vision, tens of thousands of families who followed the rules could suddenly face deportation unless they met harsh new conditions. Critics warn it would create a two-tier society, tearing apart communities and undermining businesses that rely on long-term migrant workers. Farage and his allies frame it as taking back control, but opponents say it crosses a dangerous line, targeting people who are already part of Britain's social fabric. And this is exactly why Starmer chose to confront it head-on. Inside Labour HQ, alarms are ringing. Party strategists fear that ignoring reform could repeat the same mistakes that led to Brexit, and even Trump's shock victory. That's why Starmer's inner circle is now pivoting hard, pouring resources into tracking down voters who feel abandoned, especially long-term non-voters who could be drifting towards Farage. Darren Jones, Starmer's trusted ally in Downing Street, is spearheading a data-driven offensive, combing through electoral rolls, canvassing doors that Labour would once have written off, and testing messages that move the debate away from immigration and back onto bread-and-butter issues like the NHS and the cost of living. The strategy is simple but high stakes. Labour believes reform's rise can only be blunted by reconnecting with the silent, disillusioned millions. But will they listen before it's too late? Starmer isn't fighting this battle alone. His top ministers have been rolled out in a coordinated strike against Nigel Farage and Reform UK. Chancellor Rachel Reeves took aim at the economic fallout, warning that businesses would face chaos and trade deals could unravel if reform's agenda ever saw the light of day. Meanwhile, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood sharpened Labour's stance on migration, unveiling tougher rules for those seeking indefinite leave to remain, insisting applicants must prove integration through work, taxes, and community contribution. The message was clear. Labour will be firm on borders, but will not cross the moral line Farage is pushing. Across the conference hall, ministers hammered home the same theme: unity against reform, not division against their own leader. But while the front bench looked united, whispers of dissent were never far away. Yet beneath the show of unity, cracks are widening. Andy Burnham, Labour's powerful Greater Manchester mayor, used the conference fringes to warn against what he called a climate of fear inside the party. He argued that debate should not be silenced, hinting that Starmer's grip on policy was suffocating fresh ideas. His words landed like a thunderclap, especially after months of rumors about his leadership ambitions. But Burnham wasn't left unchallenged. The Scottish Deputy Leader, Jackie Baillie, dismissed his interventions as nonsense, while Health Secretary Wes Streeting rallied members to back the team captain in number 10. The public message was loyalty, but the private mood told a different story. Labour is fighting reform with one hand, while fending off its own internal battles with the other. Reform wasted no time hitting back. Zia Yusuf, the party's head of policy, accused Starmer of smearing ordinary people, claiming that voters with legitimate concerns about immigration were being written off as racists. Nigel Farage, never one to miss an opening, framed the attack as proof that Labour was out of touch with the real country. The Conservatives joined the chorus, with MPs seizing on Starmer's words as evidence he was insulting working-class voters. Yet polling paints a different picture. Surveys show most Britons oppose stripping rights from migrants who have lived and worked here legally. The danger for Starmer is clear. What he calls a moral line, Reform and the Tories are spinning into a culture war weapon. And in Britain's volatile political climate, culture wars can reshape elections overnight. Step back from the conference drama and a bigger picture emerges. Polls show immigration isn't even the top concern for most voters. It trails behind the NHS, the cost of living, and housing. Yet Reform's hardline message is still cutting through, with one recent survey putting them 6 points ahead of Labour. That paradox highlights a deeper truth. While voters may rank other issues higher, immigration debates stir emotions that can shift allegiances fast. Labour ministers know they cannot ignore the small boats crisis, asylum hotels, or rising net migration figures. At the same time, they're desperate to keep the spotlight on crumbling public services and economic pain, the very issues that won them power. It's a tightrope act, and if Starmer slips, Farage is waiting to claim the ground beneath his feet. As Labour's conference roars on, the battle lines in British politics have never looked sharper. Starmer has branded Reform's immigration policy racist. His ministers have launched a coordinated offensive, and the party is shifting its machinery to fight Farage head-on. But the risks are enormous. Every attack on Reform fuels Farage's outsider brand, while every sign of division inside Labour chips away at Starmer's authority. The question now is whether this moral red line will unite voters behind the Prime Minister, or hand his rivals the spark they need to ignite a new populist surge. Let us know what you think in the comments.